Welcome to the Pastor's Corner, a show that invites you to step into a sacred space where wisdom meets compassion, where faith intertwines with action, and where hearts are stirred and lives are transformed. Whether you find comfort in the pews of a church, the quiet corners of your home, or the bustling streets of your city, the Pastor's Corner is a place where you can find inspiration, encouragement, and a renewed sense of purpose. Welcome to the Pastor's Corner, where the transformative power of faith awaits you. Welcome to the Pastor's Corner, which is not a show, but a sanctuary for seekers. It is a place for the weary. It's also a place where a world is wrapped in darkness, where they can find a beacon of light and hope. Here at the Pastor's Corner, we connect the secular with the sacred, and we walk down the intersection of faith where we help to inspire people to become all that God has called them to be. Again, welcome to the Pastor's Corner. Today, we have a great show for you today, a great segment for you today. Roughly 2 months ago, I met our guest today, the gentleman who is on fire for God, and you can see God operating in his life and even hear God in his voice. 2 months ago, didn't know we'll be here today, but he's here today on the show, and I think his story, matter of fact, I know his story will be a blessing to you. I'll encourage you to tune in, anchor down, find the family, find everybody you know who's looking for a story that can pull them out of whatever situation they're in. Today, I bring to the Pastor's Corner my brother in Christ, Jeff Foman. Brother Foman, welcome to the Pastor's Corner.
Thank you.
How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing wonderful.
Doing wonderful. Good to see you today. The only thing I would say, you got Auburn colors on. You're Auburn fan.
That's what God told me to put on.
God told you to put Auburn colors on.
Gotcha. I didn't know if he knew about Auburn, but this is what he told me to put on.
I like you said that you'll know we know about Auburn. That's right. That's right. Again, we're excited to have you here on the Pastor's Corner. Over the last few months, we've been talking. You and I met a couple of months ago. In fact, where we met was at the altar.
Yeah.
Of all places we met was at the altar of God. You were invited to the ministry by Elder Maya Tarbert.
Yeah.
And didn't have a clue who you were at the time. Glad to know you now. And you came down for prayer. And at that moment when you came down for prayer, that moment, since then, we have been seeing each other almost weekly, at least once a week. Can you share with us, the viewers, from that moment? You came down to the altar, and what did you come down to the altar for?
Well, okay, God. Something told me to go down there if I was really serious about God, to go down there and ask you to pray to take the taste of dope out of my mouth.
Wow.
So I done it. And I knew right then that God, I could feel the love come over me like you wouldn't believe.
Wow.
I don't know how to describe it, but I knew right then that my life was going to be different. And I was going to serve him with everything. I promised him I'd give him my very, very best.
Wow.
I just wanted to shine for him and nobody else.
Well, I think it's so amazing at that altar. I share with you and I share with others that at that moment when you came down, God's presence literally fell into the room. And here it is. You got this black guy and this white guy who are embracing, crying, embracing, praying. Only God could do that.
Yeah.
And I think that was a beautiful picture from what the body of Christ should look like.
Yeah.
You know, we transcend genders, we transcend ethnicity, we transcend race, we transcend age, all of this in one moment. And so that was a God moment, a miracle marker moment. And you said you wanted God to take the taste of dope out of your mouth. Talk to us. What happened after you left the altar?
Well, I kept getting high for about 3 days. And the third night, I felt different, I felt funny. So I told him, y'all can take me home because I'm good. I don't need no more.
Wow.
And what I did, you didn't sleep. You didn't sleep much at all. But I went right to sleep. And I woke up that morning, I felt like I had COVID. I felt that bad. It lasted for about 15 minutes.
Wow.
It was that long. And then I felt like I'd never smoked before in my life.
I think it's significant that you said 3 days, right? 3 days. Jesus was in the belly of the earth for 3 days before he got up again. Jonah was in the belly of the fish. And he said, I cried from the belly of hell, and the Lord heard me. When I was in them 3 days. And after 3 days, everything changed. Yeah. And to see your story lined up with scripture like that, that is amazing. 3 days, and it was gone. So what are you doing now? How did you, let's go back. How did you get to the place that you was bound by that addiction? When did it start?
When it started?
Yes.
When I was 15.
15.
Yeah. Because it's hard for me to talk to people. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know why. But the first time I smoked, I didn't get high. The 7th time I smoked, I got high.
Wow.
I kept thinking they said you're going to feel a buzz, you're going to get a buzz.
Right.
I'm thinking I'm going to hear something go bzzz. You know, that's what I thought.
Right, you're 15. Yeah. Right.
Well, I laughed. I ain't never laughed so hard in my life. Mm. And from that point, right then, I gave myself to that God. Mm. From then, I started selling dope, selling it, because I met this guy. He would give me what I wanted, and all I had to do was sell 3 out of an ounce had 4, 4 quarters. And I knew enough people didn't sell them. I knew everybody got high.
Wow.
So I'd sell 3 and I'd get 1 free. So I'd go get a bunch from him, and I'd sell enough, and I'd have enough I could smoke for days.
Wow. The
way I like to smoke, every hour on hour, if not sooner. And then I'd done it for so long that I wouldn't, if I wasn't high, I didn't feel right. I didn't feel normal. I done lost track of what normal felt like.
Wow.
You know. But the reason I started, because the devil was coming to me at night. And I was young. Who was I going to tell this to?
Right.
You know, who was I going to talk to? I didn't go to church no more. I mean, I believed in God. I talked to God then. And God was letting me see things through his eyes. But who am I going to tell it to? I'm a child. You know, I'm thinking, if I tell what I'm going through or what I'm seeing, they're going to lock me up. Or put me somewhere, put me away thinking I'm delusional.
Right.
You know, so I kept my mouth shut. Mm. That's what the devil wanted. He didn't want me to tell nobody. Because once I gave my life to him, he had me.
And when you say him, you talk about the devil.
Yeah, I'm talking about the devil. Mm-hmm. The devil's as real as you sitting there talking to me right now.
How did you give your life to him? I think people need to hear that, understand, because some people may have given themselves to the devil, don't even realize they've done that. So how did that look like, you giving your life to the devil?
Because once I got high, I could talk to anybody. Mm. I could do anything. I mean, anything. I wasn't scared to do nothing no more.
Wow.
But I didn't know it was the devil. You know, he had me fooled. He fooled me real good. He is slick. Mm. Have you ever heard it said, you know, I'll manipulate you to doing what I want and make you think it's your idea?
He's a master of this.
Yeah. Well, that's what he was doing with me, and he was using me to do his job.
Wow.
Because I could manipulate anybody. Mm. Thank you for taking that one, God. Because I did some bad things. I used my gift from God to do what I wanted to do. Mm. And the devil had me thinking I was the Antichrist. Wow. And I really believed it with everything in me, like I'm talking to you right now. But then God put me somewhere where it showed me I'm not. I'm still his child.
Wow.
But I'm still serving my God. Mm-hmm. Double-minded.
Double-minded.
Yeah.
Unstable.
Bouncing back and forth. Mm-hmm. And the devil got a little slicker, though. He said, okay, I'll fool him. I was getting high on anything I could get my hands on. Mm. It didn't matter what it was. I was going to try it, see what it felt like. He had me so twisted up that I thought I was hiding from the devil. I was hiding from him. Mm. But really, I was hiding from God the whole time.
Hiding behind the high.
Mm-hmm. Hiding, thinking I'm hiding from the devil because he come to me when I go to sleep. So I didn't want to go to sleep. Mm. Because the things I seen, it wasn't nice. None of it. And I could feel it.
And here's the thing, when you said you didn't want to go to sleep, amazing how the devil is, how deceptive he is, that you think you're hiding from him by not going to sleep. And by that, physically, he's literally wearing you out.
Yeah.
And you think you're hiding from him, and he's still getting you.
I was hiding from God. He didn't want me to know. He didn't want me to have no contact with God. And if you don't sleep and get a little rest, get your mind right, sober mind. He told me, you got to have a sober mind. And I ain't talking about getting high or drunk. But you could be unsober just by walking around thinking too much, not listening.
And it's amazing. 1 Peter chapter 5 says, be sober, be vigilant. For your adversary, the devil, goes around as a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. Mm-hmm. He don't want you sober. Because when you're not sober, he can get you. So tell me this now. Now, you said something, the devil came to you when you were a child. Yeah. Because a lot of people who are viewing us today, many of the issues they're dealing with, it didn't happen when they were adults. It happened to them when they was a child, and they carried it on over to adulthood. And some of them have forgotten why they act the way they act, why they have the trouble they have, why they have the issues they have. They attribute it to other things, but it all started, that seed was planted when they were a child. So you were at what age? You said 5 when you first
met God.
Met God at 5. Yeah.
But that didn't stop the devil. Mm-hmm. He come at me harder because he knew that God was going to use me for something. And I didn't know it. Right. You know, I just knew I could feel God. I could see that glow in the room. It was so bright, but nobody else was looking at it.
Wow.
And I was trying to catch it. I wasn't about 5 running around in the church, but I was trying to catch it.
Trying to catch it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing. And I don't know, the devil, he's something serious. Because he had me thinking, if I don't go to sleep, he can't talk to me. He can't get to me. Mm-hmm. I'll be safe as long as I don't go to sleep.
Wow.
But that's what the devil wanted me to do. Because he knew God couldn't talk to me neither. I wouldn't be listening. My ears wouldn't be tuned to him because I would be so worried about him, I was forgetting about him.
Wow. You told me something. The devil used to invite you into his world, but you said you invited him into your world. Can you speak on that?
I never looked at it like that, but I understand what you mean now. Oh, thank you, God. I would be dreaming, and he was in the long hallway and behind a door. We wasn't talking like me and you talking.
Right.
But I heard every word he tell me. He said, come in here with me. And I said, mm-mm. And it went on for over a year every night. And then finally one night I said, I tell you what, you give me some of your powers. You come out here with me and I'll show you evil. And I was about 8 or 9 years old. What kind of child thinks and talks like that?
Exactly.
And that's when he had me. Because I gave my life to him when I invited him into my house. I ain't never thought about it like that. Thank you, Lord. And I've been having dreams about him. I still had, the last time I was in jail when I was 47, the last one I had, it's a white house. It's got 3 doors. And it's daylight, but it's dark. Like clouds and like bad storms coming. Winds blowing from all different directions. And there's 2 Rottweilers at each door. And they were bouncing around trying to get at something, and they're foaming at the mouth, and they raising, excuse my language, hell. And I come floating up. I'm dressed in all black. My fingernails are real long. My hair is real long. And the white of my eyes is blood red. And when I float up, they all sit down and come to attention. And the door opens. And I float on in, and it slams behind me. And when it slammed, it woke me up. And it scared me to death. That was the devil reminding me that I belonged to him. And he wasn't going to let me go for nothing or nobody. And that's the way I felt.
And it's amazing you talk about that, because in the spiritual realm, it's a battle that's going on. Paul says in Ephesians, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against darkness, spiritual wickednesses in high places. And we can get caught up thinking the devil is in the natural. No, it's a spiritual thing. And we perform in the natural what's actually going on in the spiritual. So whatever goes in the natural is already taking place in the spiritual realm. And so God is fighting for us in the spiritual realm. And you said the devil had power, but then you said there was a greater power. And God came to show who's the greater, the greater power. Yeah. Can you talk about how you move from Satan being your God to the greater God, the only one, the only one, the only God, the only one, the only wise God is Savior? Yeah. Talk to me something about that. Maybe be encouraging to those who are listening.
I was in my room one day, didn't have no dope. Got a real nice truck, super nice truck, but didn't have no gas, couldn't go nowhere. I knew what hell felt like. I was hopeless, miserable, having anxiety attacks, lonely. Nobody. Nobody. And you cry out all you want when you're in hell. Ain't nobody going to hear you. Nobody. Wow. And I talked to God many times about helping me quit. All I wanted him to do was fix my life so I could still get high and enjoy it. That's all I wanted him to do.
If I can't stop you right there, because that's why a lot of people find themselves out. God, deliver me, but I'm going back.
Yeah, I'm going to keep doing what I want to do.
Right. Deliver me for this moment because I feel so bad. Yeah. But I'm going back. After I feel delivered, I'm going back to it because I love it. That's what sin does to us. Yeah. It feels good. Anytime somebody tells us, well, sin is not an issue. No, sin feels good. It's the consequences of sin that doesn't feel good.
And that's what I was going through, the consequences at that time. But I'm still double-minded. Still talking to God, but following the devil. And this, I don't know, it was 2 days before I went to jail. I said, okay, God, I've had enough. If you don't help me or take this away from me, I'm not going to talk to you no more.
Wow.
And I meant it. The only other time I got mad with God like that was when...
All right, take your time. Take your time.
My daddy had cancer. I put my daddy through hell. He never turned me away. I asked God. He's given me everything I've ever asked for. And I don't go to God for everything.
Right.
I asked him to let my daddy live for just a few more years. Just a few more years. He died in 9 months.
Wow.
That about killed me. I'd never been through nothing like that in my life. I didn't know how to grieve. You know, I lost my mind. And I screamed out to God, I hate you. And I'll bring as much hell on this earth as I can. And I did. For 3 years straight.
Wow.
But something in my heart told me my daddy wouldn't want me to stay like that. My earthly daddy.
Right.
So I went to Center of Hope. And they taught me how to grieve. Because I love my daddy.
Right.
Because he loved me more than anything. I never heard him say it till I was 30, but I could see it every day. You see where I'm going with this?
I'm following you. I'm following you.
I didn't see it though. I was so blind. But thank you for that one too, God. No matter what I done, where I went, I could call my daddy on the phone anywhere, and he'd pick up that phone, and I could talk to him, and he'd tell me, "Come on home." You following me?
I'm following you. I'm following you.
I'm so blind. I mean, I was, God, and I'm sorry. But when God, you know, I used to think if I could just understand everything in that Bible, I could do it. You know, I'd have it. You know,
right, sure.
But everything ain't meant for me to understand. You know, and that's when I learned. You know, okay, God, I ain't got to know it all. I just trust you with it all.
That's powerful. I got to know it all, but I trust you.
No matter what comes, I trust you.
And that's what faith is. I don't have to know, but I step out on the water. You know, I go into the battle. I trust you, God.
I didn't know what faith was. You know what I thought faith was? Going to church, paying my tithe.
Wow.
Being there every Sunday or every time the doors open, teaching Sunday school. That's what I did for almost a year. Well, 10 months. That was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Religion.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. I thought I can't do it because
Right.
it was killing me.
Right.
I quit a job making $78 an hour, took a job making $8.50, but I had more than when I had that. A whole lot more. It's just I wasn't doing it the right way.
Wow.
I was doing me,
Wow.
instead of depending on him.
Wow.
And now I depend on him, God, and I'm telling the truth. I depend on him for everything.
Wow. And you say you depend on, your story reminds me of John, in John chapter 5, at the house called Bethesda. The Bible said there was 5 porches at the house called Bethesda. And on each porch you had the lame, the sick, the palsy, those who had different infirmities on each porch. And there was a man there who had been there for 38 years, waiting for the moving of the water. Because the Bible said at a certain time an angel would go down there and stir the water, and whoever stepped in first would be healed from whatever infirmity or disease that he had.
Yeah.
But that man sat there for 38 years. Every time he tried to get better, somebody would step out in front of him. And so he stuck there for 38 years until Jesus come by. Now, for me, what is so amazing about the story, Jesus was 30 years old. The man had been there for 38 years. And the question is, how did Jesus know he was there for 38 years when he's only 30 years old, right? 30 years old, right? Yeah. And Jesus asked this profound, simple but profound question to the man. And I think that's what your story is saying. Do you want to be whole? Do you want to be better? And the man started giving excuses where, I got this issue over here. I got nobody to help me here. He asked him, but do you really want to be made whole? He said, well, take up your bed and walk. He didn't have to step into the water. He just had to trust what God said.
Trust him with everything.
And I hear now you've taken up your bed of infirmity, the addiction that you have, and you tell me that you're walking with him. Every day you walk with God and you talk with God.
Every day.
How's that? How's that? Talk with us. When you walk with God, talk with God, how's that, those moments? Because I think we all need to find moments where we spend time in solidarity with God.
Yeah.
Share with us how that started and what you do during those moments.
And that's what God told me, that most Christians go to church like they're supposed to. They believe in God like they're supposed to. They do everything like they're supposed to. But they don't spend no personal time with him. And that's what he wants more than all the rest of it.
Wow.
Just personal time, not quick time, like while I'm driving because I'm in a hurry to get here, not while I'm in the shower, but time out of my life for him, because he gives me so much time.
Whoa. You just said so. That's powerful. Yeah. He wants some of my time, but he gives us all the time.
Right.
Wow.
And the other day, when it was real cold, God said, come on, let's walk. I said, okay. That's what he tells me. And when we're going, the wind's blowing and it's real cold. I usually walk about 2 miles and then 2 miles back.
Right.
I get about halfway and God ain't said nothing. And I'm the one talking, really. I ain't saying too much neither because I'm thinking it's cold.
Lord, you get me out here, it's cold.
Yeah, it's cold. And I'm thinking, I said, okay, God, I enjoy it. Because usually sometimes I walk, he don't say nothing, I don't say nothing. We just walking together. We get about halfway, I said, okay, God, we had a little time together. I'm going to turn around and go back. It's cold. He said, now you see what I mean. Huh? I said, what do you mean? Well, I see what you mean. He said, most Christians, as long as it's pretty outside and the sun's shining, they with God. They all about God. But the minute it gets a little cold or gets a little rough or the waters get high, they want to cut him short and head back.
Wow.
I said, okay. All right, God, I'm listening. He said, keep going. I said, okay, God, I'll do whatever you tell me. And I kept walking. He said, because you might miss what I got for you at the end.
That's powerful.
Yeah, that's God telling me this. And so I listened to everything. I focus on him with everything in me now. Night and day. When I'm asleep, God's with me. It don't matter what I'm doing. He's talking to me. And I'm listening with everything in me. because I don't want to miss nothing he's got for me.
Mm.
Whatever his will is for me, I'm going to do it, no matter what it is. I promise to give him my very, very best. The way when I served the devil, I served him like you wouldn't believe. Mm. I gave him everything. I gave my life to him. And you understand where I'm going. All these years of doing drugs, 40 plus years, I was in the wilderness.
Exactly.
And God's still talking to me, but I ain't really paying attention. I want him to fix me so I can keep doing what I'm doing.
Right.
But now I'm in the promised land.
I hear that. Well, welcome to the promised land.
I'm happy every day. There's nothing, you know how I've heard people say, God won't put on you no more than you can handle. What can I handle if I trust God with everything?
Wow.
You understand?
That's right. I'm following you.
Now this is God telling me this. I said, okay, God, I got you. But when I went to jail, he wanted me in jail so that nothing could come in between me and him. So that I would hear everything he told me, with nothing going to distract my mind no more. Mm. I was in that room, I was mad because I was in jail. I didn't want to be there. But I done what I done. But all I did, I didn't take nothing. But the devil used them thinking he's punishing me, but it's where God wanted me.
Well, he meant for evil, God made it work for your good.
Yeah. Mm. And I'm laying there. Ain't nobody in this room with me. They call it quarantine. Mm. And I'm mad, kind of hungry, you know. And I heard something say, you'll depend on me for everything in here. It was the beginning of everything. Mm. And I looked up because I thought somebody was in there with me. But nobody in there. But I remembered it the next day. It was kind of cold. And in jail, you don't get no pillow. You get one blanket and a mat, about this thick. And it was kind of cold. I said, I was just testing the waters, I guess. Because I remember what he said. I said, okay, God, I'm cold. Being sarcastic.
Right. Oh.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, don't be sarcastic with God.
Right.
Because the next day I had 2 blankets. And it didn't really hit me then. I thought, well, okay, you know, this is my lucky day. Ain't nothing luck involved with God. No luck involved with God. Well, I was still cold. I'm still being sarcastic. I said, okay, God, I'm still cold. Thinking I'm, you know, joking around, being smart, but really what I was being. The next night I had 4 blankets. I wasn't cold no more.
He was dumping it up for you.
Yeah. And I was hungry in there because I knew my family, they wasn't going to put no money on my books, you know. And before I met the kitchen ladies, you know, they did their best. You know, they just put it on there. They was feeding us, you know, like you're supposed to. And I was hungry. Man, I was hungry that day. And I done ate the afternoon meal, you know, supper, whatever you call it.
Right.
And I was still hungry. And I done been going to bed a little bit, kind of hungry. And that's a bad feeling. Worst feeling, second to being hopeless and lonely. And I was starving. I said, okay, God, I'm hungry. Please don't let me go. I wasn't being smart but no more.
Gotcha.
God had my undivided attention then. I said, please don't let me go to bed hungry tonight. Not again. Please. And when I was moved to the other side, you know, on the west side. I was out of quarantine. I was still hungry, man. I was so hungry that day. They hadn't ate yet. I got to eat again. That's when I said, okay, God.
I got you.
You show me who sarcastic is. I got you. I'm listening with everything in me. And I got to where I would, when everybody goes to sleep, when I'd get up and talk to God. And he would sit there because, you know, I knew some of the guys in there, from being around, it's hard not to know somebody when you've been getting high.
Right.
For 40-something years. I knew every drug dealer, every dope head just about in the world, except these new young guys. They all took pistols. But that was when I spent my time with him. And it got to where I'd stay like 20 or 30 minutes. Toward the end, I was talking to him for hours. And that's all he wanted was, for me to give him my time. But he put me where could nothing come between me and him.
Wow.
Nothing was going to distract me. I was going to listen this time. And I used to sing a song about being in his army. I just make it up as I go, Because, there wasn't no music in there, but I could hear these other guys on around the corner. And they were singing something. It sounded like angels. But it was these guys singing some song. I don't even remember what song, but it sounded just like